Something dramatic has already happened and I literally just got to the park. Hey everybody, it's Molly with AllEars and I'm here today at EPCOT for a brand new video. Today we are doing the Genie Plus challenge here at EPCOT. We are going to see if I can use all 11 lightning lanes here at the park, including at Disney's newest attraction, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. I'll share tips and tricks on how to use Genie Plus along the way. How fast can we do it? Can we even get through them all? I hope you're ready. I hope you're excited. Let's get to it. If you're unfamiliar, Disney Genie is a new system that rolled out about a month ago at Walt Disney World. There are 3 versions of Disney Genie. There is the free version, which has personalized itineraries, as well as a tip board. There is Genie Plus, which is essentially the replacement for FastPass Plus. It's $15 per day per person, and it works on over 40 attractions around Walt Disney World. You can use it on each attraction once, and once only. And then there are what I call fancy rides, but officially they are called individual Lightning Lane a la carte paid ride selections. These are attractions that are not included in Genie Plus, but you do have to pay to use the Lightning Lane. And that means the Lightning Lane is simply the physical place you're going to go. It's the old Fast Pass queue, but to ride these individual fancy rides, you can book up to 2 per day, and you're going to pay a per ride per person fee for those. EPCOT has 11 attractions in total, 2 fancy rides and 9 on Genie Plus, and we're going to try and get through them all today. So this morning I woke up. You can book your first Genie Plus at 7 a.m. I woke up and booked Test Track. It's a very good choice here at EPCOT. It's the most popular of the Genie Plus attractions. Often you can't book it until very far out or it'll run out for the whole day. So I woke up at 7 and booked a nice, easy 10:15 Test Track. Then before 10:15, I wasn't even on my way to the park yet. I got a notification around 10 o'clock that Test Track was temporarily closed and I was being issued a redemption pass. So now I have a freebie redemption pass that I can use at any of the Genie Plus attractions whenever I want, including Test Track when it comes back up, or any of the others, not the fancy rides, so not Frozen and not Remy, but I can use that one whenever I want, and I get to book another Genie Plus attraction. So I decided to already take this video in a completely different direction. I am not showed up to the park until afternoon, because a lot of you have asked for videos where people don't want to rope drop, they don't want to get here as early as possible. How can they navigate their days that way? So believe it or not, some people like to sleep in on vacation. So we're starting this challenge officially at 12:26. I have booked myself a lovely Spaceship Earth. I booked it when I was coming into the park for a 12:10 to 1:10 return time. I'm also going to try and move as circularly around the park as possible, as opposed to zigzagging around the park, because that's what I think most people do. I don't think most people run around the park. And in a park like this or Animal Kingdom, you don't have to zigzag as much. So we are going to start with Spaceship Earth. I also did book my fancy rides, but let's go ride Spaceship Earth. Spaceship Earth is a family attraction. There's no height requirement. It's that delightful, slow-moving ride through Spaceship Earth, the structure that teaches you about the history of communication through time, which is very exciting. And it's kind of your last, it's kind of the last of your old school EPCOT attractions. This is very hearkening to the EPCOT opening, where all the attractions were about edutainment, education and entertainment. So this one's a classic for me, a must-do for a lot of people. I don't know if your youngest kids are gonna enjoy it, but for most people it's a must-do when they get to EPCOT. It has a 15-minute posted wait right now. Sure.
Excellent. Head right on in.
Thank you. You can usually avoid a long wait at Spaceship Earth. It's usually not too bad. When it will get bad is kind of a couple hours after opening, because everyone that walks in just sees it and jumps on. But you can typically, outside of really busy times, avoid a long wait at Spaceship Earth. Spaceship Earth, done, check. Loved it. Walked right on. It was about 1 minute approximately from getting in line to getting on, and it had again a posted 15-minute wait. So I love Spaceship Earth. I think it is a must-do when you come to EPCOT. And after I tapped in for the second time, I went ahead and booked the Seas with Nemo and Friends, which is our next attraction on our route. One of the best ways to utilize this system is to always have a next lightning lane that you're going to go into with the Genie Plus. So as soon as you tap into an attraction, there's usually 2 touch points that you'll have to tap at the attractions. As soon as you touch that second one, go ahead and book your next attraction. That way you always have one and are maximizing your purchase. The Seas with Nemo and Friends is a very cute dark ride through the story of Finding Nemo. It's got, it's an omni-mover attraction, and it doesn't have a height requirement. Really great family attraction. I love it because I love any attraction where they're gonna put me on a dark ride through a Disney or Pixar film. Plus I love aquatic life. This is one only at a posted 10-minute wait right now, but it probably isn't even that. This is one, again, doesn't get too long of lines. So you probably don't need to use Genie Plus on it.
You bear with me one moment. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now that I've tapped in at my second touch point, I'm going to go ahead and book my next attraction as I'm walking through the rest of the queue. The next attraction I'm going to be trying to book will be Turtle Talk with Crush, which is in the same building. The Seas with Nemo and Friends is so cute. I really enjoyed that attraction. I refreshed a few times to see if I could get Turtle Talk a little closer. Not that I really need to, and not that I recommend it. It was only 20 minutes from when I booked it, and it's less than 15 minutes from now. So I'm going to do one of my favorite underrated things in EPCOT and explore the sea base a little bit. There are real animals, sharks, manatees, dolphins, rays, turtles, all kinds of things to look for. And this is a really great place to come with little ones to cool off, get a little AC, see a little animal action before it's time to go see Turtle Talk. But first things first, I think we should go say to an old hello to an old friend. Hi, Mr. Eel. Hi there, Molly. How are ya? I'm doing pretty good, Mr. Eel. How are you? I'm doing all right. Just hanging in there. Hey, Mr. Eel, you know how they put like a hat on the sea urchins and stuff? Are they going to give you any kind of festive decor? Maybe. I don't know. I don't really think I look good in hats.
I guess it's one of those.
Well, I think you'd look pretty good in hats, so maybe they'll give you a Santa hat or something for the holidays. Maybe. I don't really like it. The missus doesn't like hats. I understand. Mr. Eel. Well, it's always a pleasure to see you, and I'm glad that you're here. Well, thanks for visiting, Molly. Stay safe, everybody. Keep washing those hands. Wear those masks. Bye. Bye, Mr. Eel. Love you. Oh, what a peach he is. After a few minutes exploring the sea base, it was time to go to Turtle Talk with Crush. This is an interactive show with Crush the Turtle from Nemo. It only came back recently, and I actually haven't seen it since it came back, so I'm really excited to see it right now.
Hello there.
So Turtle Talk with Crush is really cute. It's, again, an interactive show similar to Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor over at Magic Kingdom, but with Crush the Turtle and maybe some other characters sometimes surprise us from Finding Nemo. So make sure your little ones get some questions ready about turtles and about sea life, and if they want, they can ask Crush. This one doesn't normally get too long of a wait. Typically it's just waiting for the show in front of you to be let out. If it's really busy, you may have to wait for a couple of shows. But if you time it right, you'll be able to walk in pretty quick like we are right now. But at most, typically, you'll just wait for the 10 minutes or so for the show in front of you to finish up. But I love coming in here. They've got all the tile work and the lamp fixtures and everything to emulate things from the sea.
Hello, human dudes! You want to sea turtle ends up somewhere cold? We leave and go somewhere warm. Just like you did. Classic turtle move.
Ooh, hello there! Hi, humans!
Dude, wailed it.
Turtle talk really is super cute if you've got little ones. It made me laugh out loud a couple times, and it really is Crush, so it's gonna be different every time you see it. It's delightful. And I don't think you probably need Genie Plus for most days. Most of Epcot Future World attractions don't get too long of a lines on regular days, so Genie Plus may not be the best purchase you can make here. I looked for Soarin for quite a while because Soarin is at the land next door, and I kept getting like 2:30, 2:40, which is in about an hour from now, which I would recommend just booking. But I am trying to do this a little faster if possible, so I went ahead and booked Living with the Land at 1:40, which is in about 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna see if I can get Soarin to pop up a little closer. But in reality, if Soarin has a 25-minute wait, or you can get Genie Plus within the next hour, just go ahead and book it, or go ahead and use standby. I think the best days with Genie Plus are going to be a mix of Genie Plus and standby. But of course, for these challenges, I'm using Genie Plus everywhere. Living with the Land is a boat ride through the greenhouses here at Epcot. I actually really enjoy this attraction. It's very leisurely and slow, and I love a good greenhouse visit. And what's cool about this attraction is it actually supplies most of the produce for the building, for the restaurants here, as well as several other restaurants around property. So if you're going to eat at Sunshine Seasons or the Garden Grill, I always recommend telling your kids, hey, there's the lettuce you just ate right there. Maybe it'll get them to eat lettuce. I don't know. Living with the Land is another one that normally doesn't get too long of a line. It's only got a posted 10-minute wait right now. Every now and again it'll spike up weirdly, but just give it a while, I promise it'll drop. So yet another one I don't think you need Genie Plus on to get through the line quickly. Living with the Land done. I really do find that such an enjoyable attraction, and what I can already see they're setting up for is at the holiday time, they actually put Christmas lights throughout it, so if you ride it at night during the holidays, it's got Christmas lights twinkling all over the greenhouse, and it's really a special, fun touch, and I can see the lights! I'm so excited for all the holidays. We'll have tons of videos on that too. So while I was waiting to board the boat, I was able to book a 2:15 at Soarin. I was able to refresh a few times and book that 2:15. When I say refresh, fiddle faddle, basically when you are booking your next Genie Plus, it's based on a first available booking system. It's not like FastPass Plus where you got to pick different times that you'd like to go. It's all first available, just like old paper FastPass. Put your mindset into paper FastPass when you walk up to the kiosk and it would say, now distributing 1 to 2, and you'd walk up, put your ticket in, and that's what time you would go. That's how Genie Plus attractions work, not fancy rides, but Genie Plus attractions just work first available. So when you're looking at the tip board on the app, you're just booking what's next. But sometimes if you pull down, it will refresh the screen, and every now and again something sooner than it says will pop up as a different time, whether because they have more availability, they're moving people through faster, somebody didn't use theirs, whatever. So I always recommend if there's a ride you want to go on and it's showing a really far away time, refresh a few times, pull down, and see if something sooner pops up. So that's what I did, and I was able to book Soarin for just a few minutes from now. Taking a look at the waits, though, it's not a super busy day here today. 20 minutes at Figment, but you could book Lightning Lane for 1 minute from now. Mission Space, 10 minutes, same thing. Soarin's only a 25-minute wait, and you could book Genie Plus from 30 minutes from now right now. We have one in about 10 minutes. Test Track is the longest wait in the park, or one of the longest Genie Plus ride attraction, I should say. 50 minutes, you could book a 6:30 Lightning Lane, so pretty far out from now. And then Frozen has a 70-minute wait. Again, that's a fancy ride. And then Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. nothing fun. So they're out of lightning lanes for the whole day. They're out of fancy ride purchases for the whole day. The virtual queue is full, and then of course there's no standby line there. So Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is definitely the one you have to plan for the most when coming to this park. Soarin is definitely one of the most delightful attractions at this park, and as you can see, it's got a lot longer line than some of the other things we've done. It has a posted 35-minute wait right now. It can get upwards of an hour, over an hour, especially on busy days, but you can also find it under half an hour, usually in the mornings or the evenings. So this is one that if it looks long, I say wait a little bit, but it's a very popular attraction. It has a 40-inch height requirement, and this is that lovely hand gliding attraction where you are going to soar, if you will, around the world and see sites like Paris and the Taj Mahal and the pyramids. So it's very lovely. It's very pleasant. And I'm excited to ride it right now. Also, in the queue, they're playing music from The Rescuers Down Under, which is such an underrated film, and it's giving me a lot of joy. This is the first time I've actually been stopped getting on an attraction with Genie Plus. Soarin is a big theater, basically, and so they load it in big chunks. So actually, when Quincy and I did the Genie Plus versus no Genie Plus challenge, I actually waited longer for Soarin than she did, just because of the timing of, you could either walk right in when they're loading a theater, or you could have to wait for a theater or two to go. So I've actually been stopped, but Genie Plus lane, Lightning Lane will always get priority, so they should move all of us forward first, and then they'll move people from the standby line. Some attractions are incredibly impacted by this. Soarin will probably be one of them. Peter Pan's Flight is one of them. But attractions that have a slow load and unload are more heavily impacted by having guests using the lightning lane versus attractions that load and unload quickly. They're not as impacted. Oh, I love that noise. And now at this point we're merged in, so it's lightning lane and standby all together. And because I tapped in my second time, I should be able to book something next. So I'm going to continue in our circular fashion and head over to the Imagination Pavilion next. Now there is terrible service in here, so I hope I'm able to pull up the tip board. The tip board is probably my favorite thing about the new Genie app. It's got all the attractions in the park with the current wait as well as the next Genie Plus time if that's available. Show times. There's also a dining tip board where you can see all the restaurants in the park, what their walk-up list looks like if there's any reservations available or their next mobile order time. And what I love is that you can hit this edit right here and you can pin your top picks. So as a little pro tip, I've been unpinning stuff throughout the day as I've ridden it. So I don't need to know what the Soarin wait is anymore because I've already ridden Soarin. So you can pin all your stuff and have it up at the top, the things you care the most about. So we are going to do Figment next. So look, there's a 225. After about not even 5 minutes, we're moving now into the pre-show. So again, it just depends on the timing of when you hit this one. If you have to wait for the next pre-show or the next pre-show. You know what I mean.
Patrick, and I'll be your chief flight attendant today. We'll begin boarding in a few minutes, but first I'd like to acquaint you with some important safety information.
Check. This is such a great one. This is definitely one I say you have to ride in EPCOT. I think it's probably my favorite ride in this park. It's definitely my mom's favorite and most of your mom's favorites, probably, if you ask them. So Soarin is a very good use of a Genie Plus, I feel like, because it can get a longer line. But on most days, you probably don't need it. But if you've already got it, then it's a good use. Does that make sense? Don't buy Genie Plus just to use it on Soarin. If you already have Genie Plus, then it's a great one to use it at. That's what I'm trying to say. So next we are headed over to the Imagination Pavilion. There are 2 attractions there, and we're sneaking up on our time for our Fancy Rides TM as well. So, done a good job planning this day so far. First up, booked a 225 Journey into Imagination with Figment. As you can see, it does not have a line. It only has a posted 5-minute wait. And that's typically the case with this attraction. This is again a family ride, no height requirements. Includes Figment, the purple Imagination, Dragon of Imagination. And some people love Figment, some people don't love Figment. Some people love this ride. It's not my personal favorite, but today we're doing everything. But I feel like I would love it if I rode the original that everybody's still remembering near and dear to their hearts. Listen, I want it on the record that the character Figment is fine. I think he's very cute, and I get it if you love Figment. I just don't personally love that ride, and it's mostly because of the skunk smell and a little bit because of the moon at the end, the Nigel Channing moon. It's the scariest thing in Walt Disney World, probably. Anyway, Figment doesn't normally have that long of a line, so another one you probably don't need to use Genie Plus for. And while we were waiting to board our vehicles, I booked one you definitely don't need to book Genie Plus for, and that is the Disney Pixar Short Film Festival right next door. So the Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival is it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a film festival with a couple of different shorts from Disney and Pixar. Hello, how are you? Good. Thank you. It is currently Get a Horse, Piper, and Feast, and it's been those 3 for a while. I wish they would rotate them out a little bit more. This is always something I enjoy going to, but I would like it more if they changed them out. That they do Get a Horse because that's an old cartoon that they then like animated with current animation, so it's very neat. And Walt Disney actually voiced Mickey Mouse in that, which is like tier. But again, I wish they updated the cartoons a little bit more. They've been the same ones for a while. It's a great attraction if you're trying to get a little bit of AC, if you've got some downtime, you want somewhere quiet and you want to sit down. But I definitely don't think it's a must-do at this park. And per usual, as I've said 100 times in this video already, you definitely don't need to use Genie Plus there. Basically, you're just going to wait for the next show to happen, no matter what, unless it's an incredibly busy day. So that's one I definitely think you can skip the Genie on. Now it's time to go do the first of our 2 fancy rides. The 2 fancy rides again at this park are Frozen Ever After and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. You can book the fancy rides at 7 a.m. if you are a Walt Disney World Resort guest, or at the time the park opens if you are not. So that would be 10 a.m. You do not have to be in the park to book them. And I booked Frozen for 2:45 to 3:45, hoping I'd be done or almost done with Future World. The timing's working out pretty well because all we have left in Future World are Mission Space and Test Track, which are on this half of the park anyway. So we're just going to dip into World Showcase to Norway, then dip back to get through Test Track and Mission Space, and hope we can get those done before the pass I booked for Remy. Taking a look at some of the wait times now as we head over to Frozen Ever After. The Figment has a 20-minute line now, and you could book a lightning lane for 3:20, which is in 8 minutes. Mission Space is a 10-minute line. You could also book a 3:21 for that. Test Track has a 45-minute line, and there are no more Genie Plus spots available. Frozen Ever After has a 95-minute line, and you could purchase your individual fancy ride pass starting at 5:55 is the earliest time they have left. Living with the Land, 10-minute wait. Could book a 3:15 Genie Plus. Remy has, again, no more virtual queue and no more individuals. The C's 10-minute wait and a 3:15. Genie Plus, Soarin 35-minute wait and a 3:35 lightning lane. Spaceship Earth is temporarily closed, and actually it's been temporarily closed for a few hours. Turtle Talk, 10-minute wait and a 3:30 Genie Plus. So I think this is all concluding what we said from the beginning about EPCOT, is that you probably don't need Genie Plus here. The waits aren't too bad, but maybe on a busy day, or if you're buying it because you're hopping to or from studios, then it's great to use it. Frozen Ever After is definitely one of the most popular attractions in Epcot. Most likely to have one of the longest lines, along with Test Track, considering Remy doesn't have an actual line to stand in. This is again one of your fancy rides, so it is currently $9 for this one. Unlike Genie Plus attractions, fancy rides are not first available. Whenever you book them, again, 7 a.m. if you're a resort guest, or at the time of the park open. If you're not, you can select whatever times are available. So of course, more times are available if you're a resort guest booking at 7. But once you've purchased it, that is yours. That is your time you're riding. Hello there. Thank you. There is no modifying it or canceling it or getting a refund. So just be sure that whenever you're booking it, that you're going to be able to ride it at that time, and that that's a good time for you. Don't book it around the same time as dining reservations. I wouldn't book it too close to park hopping if you're hopping into a park, etc. So when I was looking at it this morning, I booked mine for between 2:45 and 3:45 because I thought I'd be done with most of Future World by then. So the timing worked out pretty well. But again, it's like a movie ticket. Once you bought it, it's yours, and that is the time you're going to ride. One thing I want to remind you about lightning lanes is that typically there's one weird caveat to this rule, but typically you can only have one Genie Plus at a time, but you can also have your 2 fancy rides. So right now, I had a Frozen Ever After fancy ride, a Remy's Ratatouille Adventure fancy ride, and I also had went ahead and booked a Mission Space after doing the Pixar show. So I currently hold 3, but 2 are the fancy rides. The one caveat to holding 2 Genie Pluses is called the 120-minute rule, and it's very confusing, but the easiest way I can describe it is when you think about Genie Plus, so not fancy rides, but Genie Plus, you can book another Genie Plus either when you've tapped in at the attraction, the second tap, your window ends, so if you missed the attraction completely, or after it's been 120 minutes since you've booked a Genie Plus. So if you're looking at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. and the next test track isn't till 6 p.m., you could book again at noon. So again, it is either once you've tapped into the attraction, your window closes because you missed it, or 120 minutes since you booked an attraction. Whichever one of those things comes first is when you can book another Genie Plus. You're mostly only going to see that come into play with attractions like Test Track here. You may see it come into play with Slinky Dog Dash, Smuggler's Run over at Hollywood Studios. When I did my Hollywood Studios challenge like this, I hit it with Slinky Dog, and I talked about the best way to maneuver that. And then you could hit it with some attractions like Peter Pan's Flight or Jungle Cruise over at the Magic Kingdom. So essentially, if you book a far out attraction, you can book another one. You just have a 2-hour downtime. Waited maybe 5 minutes, not even, to get on a boat on a posted 95-minute wait. So I'll take it. Frozen Ever After done. I do think that is such a cute ride. I love the song Let It Go, and my favorite animatronics are Olaf and Sven. I am not a huge fan of the animatronics of the people where they project the faces on it. I think they're good, but not as great as others. But it's a really cute attraction. Love the music. Is it worth $9? That's up to you. That adds up quick if you've got a lot of people in your family. It's not going to always be 95 minutes, but it does consistently have a pretty lengthy line. So I would recommend either, if you're staying at a deluxe resort, saving it for your extended hours in this park. If you are a resort guest, come here first, rope drop this one, or just come early or late, and you can usually get a fairly decent line there. But on a really busy day, if you've got someone in your family that's like a diehard Frozen fan, you may want to just, you know what, $9. That's as much as Remy. So to me, not one I would buy regularly. Now we're headed over to Mission Space, which was actually the last one I had to book for the day. I booked it after I had done the short film festival. So we are headed over to do Mission Space and Test Track, because if you remember, I booked Test Track this morning and it didn't operate. So instead, I got a redemption to ride it whenever I want. So we'll ride both of those now. Decided I'm gonna go ahead and use my redemption at Test Track now, because it's up and operating, and Test Track is very finicky, so I don't want it to close and us not be able to finish the challenge. So basically, if you have an attraction that's closed for technical difficulties or weather or whatever it is, they will issue you a redemption pass. It'll be on your Genie day, on your My Day, and it will be good for that attraction and others. It will not be good for the fancy rides, but you can use it whenever you want as long as the attraction's reopened that day for anyone you had booked on it. Test Track is a 40-inch height requirement, and it is testing a car on the sim track. So it's got a very Tron vibe. It is one of the most popular rides in the park. It currently has a 45-minute wait. It can get up to much, much longer than that. But basically, you'll design a car and then you'll, quote, test it out on the track, including a loop around the building outside at a whopping 65 miles an hour, making it the fastest ride in Walt Disney World. Or as Duckfist likes to call it, how fast you drove to get here this morning. Test Track also has a single rider line, which is open right now. Single riders split up your party and they put you in with odd numbered groups. So it's a very quick way to ride an attraction most of the time. However, no, your party will be split up. I recommend doing single rider at this attraction. For me, this isn't one that I'm going to wait a really long time for. And if I'm not buying Genie Plus, then the fastest way to get on is through single rider. At this point, you may run into a short wait here at the design studio. This is to get into the touchscreens where you can design your car. This is also where the attraction officially starts for Disney, so should just be just a few minutes in this Genie Plus expedited wait. This has definitely been the longest line I've waited in. It was about 15 minutes to get up to this spot, so Genie Plus can definitely save you time, but I want to remind everyone that being in the lightning lane doesn't mean you're going to immediately walk on the attraction. It usually does, but it mostly just means that you're going to have an expedited wait compared to the standby line. So if the line was truly 45 minutes, that only got them to the room where you designed the cars, and then anyone had to wait in that 15-minute line. So it's really more like an hour to actually get in the vehicle. Just one.
I want to be over 8, please.
Sure. So keep that in mind, keep those patient pants on, but having a lightning lane access doesn't mean you're going to walk on the ride immediately. That's probably the best use of a Genie Plus in this park because it is so popular and it does go. Like, it's gone for the day. You can't book it as of now. Things may always pop up again, so always keep checking. But if you're using Genie Plus at EPCOT, this is the one I recommend you wake up and book so you can get yourself a nice early time for this. Don't have to worry about that 120-minute rule, and you can just be like, start your day with Test Track.
Better go.
But keep in mind, it often has technical difficulties, so you may end up with one of those redemption passes. If you don't want to use Genie Plus, again, use those extended hours or those early park hours for this one, or come first thing in the morning. It may drop in the afternoon sometimes as well, or use that single rider. Test Track for me is fine. It's pretty low on my list of Disney thrill rides, probably because I can drive a car. But when I was little, I was obsessed with it. It was the old version then. But my nephews are obsessed with it now. They absolutely loved it. So I think it's a great attraction, especially if you've got little ones who like cars. But it's just not a must-do for me. Now we are headed to Mission Space, which I have a few minutes left on my Genie Plus return time. A couple of things, pro tip, if you're not gonna make your Genie Plus return time for whatever reason, you can cancel it. Again, you cannot cancel the fan certs, but the Genie Pluses you can cancel. And I really recommend doing it because while nothing will happen to you if you don't show up, you won't be able to book that attraction again. And there's no way to cancel it as of now without going to guest relations because it falls off of your itinerary for the day. And then if you want to cancel it because you're not going to make it and ride it again at another time, you're going to have to go to guest relations to have them fix it for you, or the guest experience customers in the blue polos. So save yourself that hassle and just go ahead. And if you're not going to make it because something else is running long or you decide to grab a meal or your plans change, just go ahead and cancel it and you can rebook it at another time. Now, Mission Space has two sides, orange and green. Orange is more intense, 44-inch height requirement. Green is less intense with a 40-inch height requirement. Green takes you around the Earth, and the orange mission takes you to Mars. So this can be a very popular attraction. It can get a very long line, but right now both sides are under 10 minutes. But we got to do it. This is probably the most nauseating ride in Walt Disney World. Now both sides take the Genie lane. Both sides have a lightning lane, but we're gonna do green today. So I did confirm with the cast members. This was a great question. As a reminder, you can only use, thank you, Genie Plus once at each attraction. You can ride as many attractions as you want across as many parks as you want, but you can only book each attraction once, which means you have to choose which side you want to use Mission Space on. I just asked if you could book it again and use both different sides, and she said no. So with this attraction, it's very intense on the orange side. It's very nauseating. It spins and simulates G-forces. It's too intense for a lot of people. This is the only attraction in Walt Disney World that's equipped with barf bags. Thank you. Thank you. So my recommendation is to ride the green side first. So if you walk up and there's not a long line, go ahead and just jump in the green side and then use your lightning lane on orange if you think you can handle it. If there is a long line, I would just ride green. Just orange is intense. If you've never been on Mission Space before, it is a simulator where you will be assigned a role, navigator, pilot, commander, or engineer, and you will be sent on the green side that I'm doing around the Earth, or on the orange side, you'll be sent to Mars. It is very claustrophobic. It is very nauseating. A lot of people hate this attraction for that, but the technology is actually very impressive, and I say this all the time, but NASA worked with Disney for over 5 years to make this technology. This is Molly Lightyear over and out. Yaw pitch roll. We are ready for liftoff. I repeat, slow, raw pitch roll. We are ready for liftoff. Molly Lightyear over and out. Mission Space, check. You know, I don't really mind the green level of Mission Space most days. Today, just now, it was very relaxing. A little scoot around the Earth. But if you get motion sick, that's definitely one to watch out for. And I'm telling you what, that orange side, whew, that is intense. But that's the last one we had to book because our next attraction, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, I booked this morning. So when you're booking your Fancy Rides TM, you're gonna want to be strategic because once again, you can't change them. And so when I started looking, usually around 10 a.m., which is when non-resort guests can book them, it's usually early afternoon or so is the first times. But as you recall, I was trying to not go in too much out of order and I knew around noon I would still be in Future World, bopping around there. So I ended up booking it for the kind of mid to late afternoon, and the timing's working out really nicely that we can head over there now. So you want to kind of think about where you're going to be throughout the day. If you're also going to plan on doing most of Future World first, you probably don't want to book Remy till 3, 4 or so in the afternoon. If you're not a big Future World person, then you may want to book it earlier. If you are coming in from International Gateway because you're staying at Yacht Beach Boardwalk, you may want to book it earlier. If you're planning on doing a big festival day, think about where you're going to be in the park, knowing that Remy's is in France. So you do kind of want to be a little strategic so that you're not putting yourself in a position to backtrack all the way across the park. I want to address another one of the big questions that we get a lot about Genie Plus, and it's goes back to that mindset. Remember, told you to put you in that mindset of pay for fast pass and walking up to a machine. A lot of people ask, is this type of challenge easier with one person than it would be with 4 people? And the answer is no. I know, it's very exciting. Unlike with FastPass Plus, because it's first available, next available, the number of people in your party doesn't actually matter. Imagine once again walking up to that FastPass machine and it said now distributing 1 to 2. If you walked up with 2 people and the person next to you at the next machine walked up with 8, it didn't matter. You all stuck your tickets in and you all got the same time. So that's the same concept here. So as far as Genie Plus goes, you shouldn't really worry about how many people are in your party. It's all going to show up the same, which I think is a nice thing about this system compared to FastPass Plus. Headed into the new part of the France Pavilion where Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is, as well as the Creperie. This attraction opened officially on Disney World's 50th anniversary, October 1st, and it is currently only accessible with the Lightning Lane Fancy Ride or virtual queue. There's no standby for this attraction. If you want to do the virtual boarding group, you can do it at 7 a.m. or 1 p.m., but you have to have an EPCOT reservation to do that. The only possibility of riding it without an EPCOT reservation and not paying for it is if the virtual boarding groups don't go right away at 1 p.m. and you hop in here after 2. There have been a few times where the boarding groups are still available till about 3 or so, but pretty much you're going to need to either book a boarding group or buy the fancy ride. And I recommend buying this one as a fancy ride for a few reasons. One, this is not open during early park entry or extended hours, so even if you're a resort guest taking advantage of one of those perks, this is not open at the time. 2, even though you may get a virtual boarding group, you still will likely have to wait about 45 minutes to get on the attraction. It's usually about that long, so you not only have to wait all day for your group to get called, which if you're trying to hop or you've got another reservation or something like that, that's kind of annoying. Hi, good, how are you? So it's kind of annoying that you may have to wait, or you may be ready to leave or do something else, but you're just waiting on your group to be called. And 3, if you are not getting a boarding group, if you don't start your day in EPCOT, like so many people hop into this park in the afternoon, evening to do food and wine or have dinner, this is usually the park open the latest, you have no chance of getting in this attraction if you don't buy it. So for me, I understand $9 adds up quick. That's how much it was today. But for me, this is one I would consider buying so that you can save yourself the hassle of dealing with the boarding groups. You don't have to wait in the queue. And you know what? If you're one of those people hopping in late, this is your only option. I had Remy booked from 5 to 6, so this is perfect timing to be able to walk up and use our lightning lane right now. Thank you. This attraction is a 3D family ride. There's no height requirement. It's very, very cute. I think it's a great addition to World Showcase, which needed more rides to begin with. And it's an adventure with Remy where you're shrunk down to the size of a rat. This attraction uses that trackless technology that you have seen on Rise of the Resistance or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which I think is oh so cute. It does give me a little bit, if I had just eaten, you may get a little nauseous from this, but I don't find it to be too bad. Less than 5 minutes later, I am being guided to board my Remy rat. Ratatouille adventure is done, which means we're done with our list. We did all 11 lightning lanes at this park. I really think that's a cute attraction. I love it more every time I ride it. And like I said, I feel like if you are planning a half day at Epcot, you're not coming till later, or you just don't want to deal with the virtual boarding group, I think this is one you can justify spending the money on if you're able to. Well, friends, we did every single lightning lane here at Epcot, 11 in total. Overall, I do not think this is a park that you need to buy Genie Plus for. I think if you're buying it day by day and you are spending a full day at Epcot, you're not going to need Genie Plus for the most part. Most of the attractions in Future World don't get that long of a wait, or you can catch them without a long wait. If you're a resort guest, you can take advantage of early park entry, or if you're a deluxe resort guest, you can take advantage of extended hours. And during those times, you can ride heavy hitters like Soarin and Test Track. In my opinion, those are the two best to use the Genie Plus on, so unless you're buying it for your whole trip, or maybe you're hopping into or out of Epcot one day, I really don't think you're going to need it, except for maybe on super, super busy days like Christmas holiday season. What I would recommend in this park, though, is consider buying the fancy ride for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure for all of the reasons listed. But hopefully this video was helpful to you, learning how to navigate Epcot with Genie Plus. If you are going to use Genie Plus here, I definitely recommend booking Test Track as your first one as soon as you can, and then Soarin's probably your next best one after that. So let us know what other Genie questions you have down in the comments. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media at AllEars.net, and until next time, I'm Molly, and it's been magical.
Want to see more of my videos? Click over here. Want to subscribe? You can do that right here. And also, ring that notification bell to make sure you get instantly notified anytime we post a new video. Thanks for following. See you real soon.